Chapter 3. The Viking Age, Raiders, Traders, and Conquerors. The origins of the Vikings, how society, religion, and culture shaped a seafaring people. The Vikings were a seafaring people who emerged from the Scandinavian region in the 8th century. They were known for their raiding and trading activities, and they played a significant role in the political and economic landscape of Europe for several centuries. The origins of the Vikings can be traced back to a number of social, religious, and cultural factors. One of the most significant factors in the emergence of the Vikings was their society. Scandinavian society was based on a system of social organization known as the Thing. This was a system of government that was based on the participation of free men in public assemblies. This system helped to establish a sense of equality and fairness in Scandinavian society, and it helped to create a strong sense of community among the people. Another significant factor in the emergence of the Vikings was their religion. The Vikings were known for their worship of the Norse gods, which included Odin, Thor, and Freya. The Norse religion emphasized bravery, honor, and courage, and it helped to create a warrior culture that was highly valued in Viking society. The Vikings were also known for their culture, which included art, literature, and music. Viking art was known for its intricate designs and intricate craftsmanship, while Viking literature included sagas and poems that told stories of heroic deeds and legendary figures. Viking music was also an important part of their culture, and it was often used to accompany their storytelling and other cultural activities. The Vikings were a seafaring people, and their ships were a significant factor in their success. Viking ships were fast and maneuverable, and they allowed the Vikings to travel long distances and to navigate difficult waters. The Vikings used their ships for raiding, trading, and exploration, and their success as seafarers helped to establish their reputation as a formidable force in the political and economic landscape of Europe. Despite their reputation as raiders, the Vikings also played a significant role in the cultural and economic development of Europe. They established trade routes, built settlements, and established diplomatic relationships with other cultures. They also contributed to the development of European languages, including the English language, which contains many words of Viking origin. Today, the story of the Vikings is a reminder of the power of society, religion, and culture in shaping the course of history. It is a testament to the creativity and resilience of the human spirit, and it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Age of the Longships, how Viking expansion and exploration shaped the world. The Viking Age, also known as the Age of the Longships, was a period of significant expansion and exploration for the Vikings. During this time, the Vikings established settlements in new lands, expanded their trading networks, and explored new territories. The Age of the Longships had a significant impact on the political, economic, and cultural landscape of Europe, and it helped to shape the course of world history. One of the most significant factors in the expansion of the Vikings was their ships. The Viking longships were fast and maneuverable, and they allowed the Vikings to travel long distances and to navigate difficult waters. The longships were also designed to be easily beached, which allowed the Vikings to land on shore and quickly establish settlements or launch attacks. The Vikings were known for their raiding activities, but they also established settlements in new lands. The Vikings established settlements in areas such as Iceland, Greenland, and Newfoundland, and they created a new society and culture in these regions. They adapted to the harsh environments of these regions and developed new technologies and techniques for agriculture, fishing, and survival. The Vikings also expanded their trading networks during the Age of the Longships. They established trading routes throughout Europe and beyond, and they traded in goods such as furs, amber, and silver. The Vikings' trading activities helped to establish economic connections between different regions and cultures, and it helped to spread knowledge and technology throughout Europe. The Age of the Longships was also a period of significant exploration for the Vikings. They explored new territories such as North America, and they established contact with new cultures such as the Byzantine Empire. The Vikings' explorations helped to expand the boundaries of the known world, and it helped to establish new trade and diplomatic relationships between different cultures. Despite their reputation as raiders, the Vikings played a significant role in the cultural and economic development of Europe. They established new settlements, expanded trading networks, and explored new territories. Their ships, skills, and ingenuity helped to establish the foundation for the development of modern naval technology and exploration. The age of the longships had a lasting impact on the political, economic, and cultural landscape of Europe, and it helped to shape the course of world history. Today, the story of the age of the longships is a reminder of the power of exploration, innovation, and adaptation. It is a testament to the creativity and resilience of the human spirit, and it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Lindisfarne Raid: How the Viking attack on a monastery marked the beginning of the Viking Age. The Viking Age is known for its raids, conquests, and expansion. The beginning of the Viking Age is often traced to the Lindisfarne Raid, an attack on the Lindisfarne Monastery in 793 AD. This raid marked the beginning of a period of significant expansion and exploration for the Vikings, and it had a lasting impact on the political, cultural, and economic landscape of Europe. The Lindisfarne Monastery was located on the island of Lindisfarne, off the coast of Northumberland in England. The monastery was known for its wealth and its collection of religious artifacts, which made it a target for raiders. On June 8, 793 AD, a group of Viking raiders landed on the island and attacked the monastery. The raiders looted the monastery and killed many of the monks. The attack was a shock to the Christian world, and it was seen as a sign of the end times. The raid also marked the beginning of a new era in European history, as the Vikings began to expand their activities beyond their homelands. The raid on Lindisfarne was not an isolated incident. In the years that followed, the Vikings continued to raid and conquer new territories. They established settlements in areas such as Iceland, Greenland, and Newfoundland, and they expanded their trading networks throughout Europe and beyond. The Viking Age was a period of significant expansion and exploration for the Vikings. They established a new society and culture in the lands they conquered, and they helped to spread knowledge and technology throughout Europe. They also contributed to the development of European languages, including the English language, which contains many words of Viking origin. Despite their reputation as raiders, the Vikings played a significant role in the cultural and economic development of Europe. They established new settlements, expanded trading networks, and explored new territories. Their actions helped to establish the foundation for the development of modern naval technology and exploration. The Lindisfarne Raid marked the beginning of the Viking Age, and it had a lasting impact on the political, economic, and cultural landscape of Europe. Today, the story of the Lindisfarne Raid is a reminder of the power of human ingenuity and the impact of historical events. It is a testament to the strength of the human spirit, and it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Viking conquest of England: How Canute, Sweyn Forkbeard, and the Danelaw changed English history. The Viking Age is known for the Viking conquest of England, a period in which Viking armies and settlers took control of significant portions of England. This period of history is often referred to as the Danelaw, and it was characterized by the influence of Viking culture and language on the English population. The Viking conquest of England began with the arrival of Viking raiders in the late 8th century. The Vikings targeted England because of its wealth and strategic importance, and they established settlements in areas such as York and East Anglia. In the years that followed, the Vikings continued to raid and conquer new territories, and they established a new society and culture in the lands they conquered. One of the most significant figures in the Viking conquest of England was Sweyn Forkbeard, the King of Denmark. Sweyn led a successful invasion of England in 1013, and he was crowned the King of England. However, Sweyn's reign was short-lived, and he died just a few months after his coronation. Sweyn's son Canute took control of England after his father's death. Canute was a skilled politician and leader, and he established a stable and prosperous kingdom in England. He also established a significant cultural influence on England, with many of the customs and traditions of the Vikings being adopted by the English population. The Viking conquest of England had a lasting impact on the political, cultural, and economic landscape of England. The Danelaw, the area of England under Viking control, became a significant center of trade and commerce, and it helped to spread the influence of Viking culture throughout England. The influence of the Vikings can still be seen in many aspects of English culture, from the language to the cuisine to the architecture. Despite the conflicts between the Vikings and the English, the Viking conquest of England also led to a period of cultural exchange and growth. The Vikings brought with them new technologies, customs, and traditions, and these were adopted by the English population. The Viking conquest of England marked the beginning of a new era in English history, one that was characterized by cultural exchange and growth. Today, the story of the Viking conquest of England is a reminder of the power of cultural exchange and the importance of understanding different cultures. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Viking conquest of England, led by figures such as Canute and Sweyn Forkbeard, helped to shape the course of English history, and it had a lasting impact on the cultural, economic, and political landscape of England. The Varangians, how Vikings became part of the Eastern world. When we think of Vikings, we often imagine them raiding and conquering lands in the West, such as England and France. However, Vikings also played a significant role in the Eastern world, particularly in the area that is now modern-day Russia. These Vikings, known as the Varangians, established a presence in the region that had a lasting impact on the political, economic, and cultural landscape of the area. The Varangians were a group of Vikings who began to explore the Eastern world in the 9th century. They established settlements in the areas that are now modern-day Ukraine and Russia, and they became known for their trading and raiding activities. Over time, the Varangians began to establish themselves as a significant force in the region, and they played a role in the development of the Rus state. The Varangians brought with them a unique culture and way of life, and they influenced the cultural development of the areas in which they settled. They also brought new technologies and knowledge, such as shipbuilding techniques and military strategies, that helped to shape the development of the Eastern world. One of the most significant figures in the Varangian world was Rurik, a Viking leader who is said to have established the Rus state. Rurik and his successors helped to develop the political and economic landscape of the region, and they established trade routes that helped to link the East and the West. The Varangians also played a significant role in the development of the Eastern Orthodox Church. They helped to spread Christianity throughout the region, and they established monasteries and churches that became centers of culture and learning. The influence of the Varangians can still be seen in the cultural, political, and economic landscape of the Eastern world. The influence of the Vikings can be seen in the architecture, the language, and the traditions of the region. The Varangians helped to shape the development of the Eastern world, and they helped to bridge the gap between the East and the West. Today, the story of the Varangians is a reminder of the power of cultural exchange and the importance of understanding different cultures. It is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, and it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Varangians, Vikings who became part of the Eastern world, helped to shape the course of history in the region, and they had a lasting impact on the cultural, economic, and political landscape of the area. The Icelandic sagas, how stories shaped Viking Age society. The Icelandic sagas are a collection of stories that were written in the 13th century, but they describe the events of the Viking Age in Scandinavia, roughly from the 9th to 11th centuries. These stories are considered to be some of the greatest works of medieval literature, and they offer insight into the social and cultural values of the Viking Age society. The Icelandic sagas are unique in that they were written in a time when few written records existed. They provide an intimate look into the daily lives, customs, and traditions of Viking Age society, including the role of women, the power of chieftains, and the importance of honor and revenge. The sagas are primarily focused on the lives and adventures of individual characters, and they often describe the conflicts and battles that took place between different factions in Viking Age society. Many of the characters are based on historical figures, and the stories offer insight into the political and social landscape of the time. One of the most significant aspects of the Icelandic sagas is their portrayal of women. Unlike other medieval literature, which often portrays women as passive and submissive, the sagas depict strong and independent women who play a significant role in the stories. This suggests that women in Viking Age society had more agency and influence than previously thought. The sagas also explore the concept of honor and revenge, which was a fundamental aspect of Viking Age society. Characters in the stories are often motivated by a desire to uphold their honor, and they will go to great lengths to seek revenge if they feel that their honor has been insulted. The Icelandic sagas had a significant impact on Viking Age society, shaping the cultural values and beliefs of the people. The stories helped to reinforce the importance of family, community, and tradition, and they provided a framework for understanding the complex social and political relationships of the time. Today, the Icelandic sagas remain an important part of medieval literature, and they continue to offer insight into the society and culture of Viking Age Scandinavia. They serve as a reminder of the power of storytelling and its ability to shape the cultural values and beliefs of a society. The sagas continue to inspire and fascinate people around the world, and they offer a glimpse into a unique and fascinating time in human history. Viking warfare, the art of combat in the Viking Age. The Vikings were known for their fierce and brutal raids, and they were feared throughout Europe for their ruthless tactics and formidable weapons. But the Vikings were also skilled warriors, and their military tactics and battle strategies were among the most advanced of their time. Viking warfare was a complex and sophisticated system that involved a wide range of tactics, weapons, and battle strategies. The Vikings would use their superior knowledge of the terrain and their speed and agility to gain an advantage over their enemies. One of the key weapons of the Viking warrior was the axe. The Vikings used a variety of different types of axes, from small throwing axes to larger two-handed battle axes. They were also skilled archers and would use their longbows to rain down arrows on their enemies from a distance. The Vikings were also skilled in hand-to-hand combat, and they would use a variety of different techniques to defeat their opponents. One of the most famous of these techniques was the shield wall, which involved forming a tight formation of warriors holding large shields. The shield wall was a formidable defense, and it allowed the Vikings to withstand attacks from their enemies. The Vikings were also skilled at siege warfare, and they would use a variety of different tactics to breach the defenses of their enemies. They would use battering rams to break down gates and walls, and they would also use tunnels and other secret entrances to gain access to fortifications. In addition to their weapons and tactics, the Vikings were also skilled in battle strategy. They would use deception, surprise attacks, and other cunning tactics to catch their enemies off guard. They would also use psychological warfare, such as wearing intimidating masks and war paint to strike fear into the hearts of their enemies. Despite their reputation as brutal raiders, the Vikings were also skilled and sophisticated warriors. Their tactics, weapons, and battle strategies were among the most advanced of their time, and they allowed the Vikings to become one of the most feared and respected military powers of the Viking Age. Today, the legacy of Viking warfare lives on, and the tactics and strategies of the Vikings continue to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Vikings were not only fearsome warriors, but they were also skilled tacticians and strategists, and their military prowess is a testament to the power of human ingenuity and resourcefulness in the face of conflict. The Viking Age in Ireland: how Vikings transformed Irish history and culture. The Viking Age in Ireland, which lasted from the late 8th to the mid-11th century, was a period of significant change and cultural exchange. During this time, Viking raiders established settlements along the Irish coast, and they left a lasting impact on Irish history and culture. The Vikings first arrived in Ireland in the late 8th century, and they quickly established settlements in Dublin, Waterford, and other coastal towns. These settlements were strategic bases for Viking raiders, who would launch attacks on Irish monasteries and towns, often taking captives and stealing valuable treasures. Despite their reputation as raiders, the Vikings also played a significant role in Irish culture and society. They brought with them new technologies, such as shipbuilding and metalworking, which had a significant impact on Irish trade and commerce. The Vikings also introduced new agricultural techniques and helped to improve the efficiency of Irish farming. Perhaps most significantly, the Vikings brought with them a rich and vibrant culture, which had a significant impact on Irish art, literature, and religion. The Vikings introduced new styles of jewelry and metalwork, which would later become a hallmark of Irish art. They also brought with them new stories and legends, which would later be incorporated into Irish mythology. The Vikings also played a significant role in the Christianization of Ireland. They established their own churches and monasteries, and they helped to spread the Christian faith throughout the country. The Vikings also introduced new religious practices, such as the use of runestones, which had a significant impact on Irish religious art and iconography. Despite their impact on Irish culture, the Vikings remained a constant threat to Irish security throughout the Viking Age. The Irish kings and chieftains frequently battled against Viking raiders, and there were numerous conflicts and wars between the Irish and the Vikings. Despite the conflicts, the Viking Age in Ireland was a time of significant cultural exchange and innovation. The Vikings brought with them new technologies, new ideas, and a rich and vibrant culture, which had a lasting impact on Irish history and society. Today, the legacy of the Vikings in Ireland lives on, and their impact on Irish culture continues to fascinate and inspire people around the world. The conversion of the Vikings: how Christianity changed the course of Viking history. The Vikings were known for their fierce pagan beliefs and their devotion to the Norse gods, such as Odin and Thor. But over time, many Vikings were converted to Christianity, and this had a profound impact on Viking history and culture. The process of Christianization in Viking society was a slow and gradual one. Christian missionaries first arrived in Scandinavia in the 9th century, and they encountered fierce resistance from the pagan Vikings. But over time, the message of Christianity began to spread, and many Vikings began to embrace the new faith. One of the key factors in the conversion of the Vikings was the influence of powerful Viking leaders, such as Olaf Tryggvason and Olaf II of Norway. These kings used their political power and influence to promote Christianity, and they were successful in convincing many Vikings to convert to the new faith. The Vikings were initially resistant to Christianity, as it challenged many of their traditional beliefs and practices. The Norse gods played a significant role in Viking culture, and they were closely tied to the concepts of honor, bravery, and victory in battle. Christianity, on the other hand, emphasized humility, forgiveness, and compassion. Despite these differences, many Vikings were drawn to the message of Christianity, as it offered a new sense of meaning and purpose in their lives. The Christian message of redemption and salvation provided a new way for the Vikings to understand their place in the world and their relationship with the divine. The conversion of the Vikings had a significant impact on Viking history and culture. Christianity helped to bring about a more peaceful and stable society, as it emphasized the importance of forgiveness and compassion. It also helped to foster a new sense of unity and solidarity among the different Viking groups, as they all shared a common faith. At the same time, the Christianization of the Vikings also had a significant impact on Viking art and literature. The Vikings began to produce a new type of art, which was influenced by Christian iconography and themes. They also began to write new stories and legends, which were heavily influenced by Christian teachings and beliefs. Today, the legacy of the Christianization of the Vikings lives on, and it continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world. The Vikings were not only fierce pagan warriors, but they were also capable of embracing new ideas and beliefs, and their willingness to change and adapt helped to shape the course of Viking history and culture. The legacy of the Vikings: how Viking culture and language influenced the world. The Vikings are often remembered as fierce raiders and conquerors, but their legacy extends far beyond their reputation as warriors. The Vikings had a significant impact on language, culture, and society, and their influence can still be felt today. One of the most significant legacies of the Vikings is their language. Old Norse, the language spoken by the Vikings, has had a lasting impact on the English language. Many common English words such as sky, knife, and law have their roots in Old Norse. The Vikings also introduced new words and phrases to the English language, such as berserk and ransack. The Vikings also had a significant impact on culture and society. They introduced new styles of art and architecture, which had a lasting impact on European culture. Viking art is characterized by its intricate metalwork and decorative patterns, which can be seen in everything from jewelry to weapons. Viking society was also unique in many ways. The Vikings had a complex social hierarchy, with different classes of people and a system of laws and punishments. They were also known for their seafaring skills and their ability to travel long distances in search of new lands and opportunities. Despite their reputation as raiders, the Vikings also played a significant role in trade and commerce. They established a network of trade routes across Europe and beyond, which allowed them to trade goods such as furs, fish, and precious metals. The Vikings also played a significant role in the development of the European economy, helping to establish new markets and trade relationships. The Vikings also had a significant impact on religion. They worshipped a pantheon of gods and goddesses, such as Odin, Thor, and Freya, and their religious practices were heavily influenced by the natural world. The Vikings also played a significant role in the spread of Christianity, as many Vikings were converted to the new faith over time. Today, the legacy of the Vikings can be seen in many different areas of life. Their language, culture, and influence can be felt in everything from the names of places to the stories we tell. The Vikings were a complex and fascinating people, and their legacy continues to inspire and fascinate people around the world.